Blessings, everyone. It's Xavier Rose, and you know what? I think I've grown as a person these past 2 years. I think I've kind of settled down with what I truly believe. I've questioned a lot, and a lot of what I believe lies on the practicality of believing and invalidating what other people think and feel. So, I really try. When I was 16, I didn't give a fuck what anyone thought about me. I really didn't. But now I'm finding that in my 20s that I cared more about what people think about me than I ever did. And now I'm approaching 30. I want to get back 16-year-old me's I don't give a fuck attitude. So anyway, the point of this video is I have not done a video response in years. Video response. And I'm even going to title this like a video response used to be back in the YouTube's old days. And if Thorn Mooney ends up watching this, hey girl, love you. The one thing about that I think I can really relate to when it comes to Thorn Mooney is that we're both teachers. We both follow a set tradition of Wicca. And we're both willing to learn about what other people think and process about witchcraft. And even in that video, she says, "Oh, I tend not to think or care about what other people are doing with their witchcraft." In the past, I have. I'm specifically talking about her video called "Witchcraft on a Spectrum." And I was surprised that the video was recommended, came up in my recommendations, because I don't know what it is, but witchcraft videos just don't show up in my recommended anymore. It's always Anne Reedon's How to Cook That, Emmy, Emmy's Cooking Whatever, I think it's Emmy Made, anyway. It's usually those people, or like Anthony Padilla. It's never witchcraft videos, which is really sad because I'm a witchcraft YouTuber and I'm a witchcraft viewer. I view videos that are spooky woo woo all the time. So it's weird. So I was like, I know this is an algorithm, but I'm gonna believe that it's goddess pulling me in this direction. And the video is Thorn talking about witchcraft as a spectrum. And when I see things as spectrum, I tend to roll my eyes because everything today is on a spectrum. We talk about autism being a spectrum, and I understand that as an educator. That is a legitimate medical diagnosis. I understand that. We talk about gender being a spectrum. We talk about Christianity being a spectrum, and the identity and validity of others' identities as a spectrum. The thing is that when something becomes a spectrum, and when you say something is a spectrum, you're trying to include all. And while I will say, Thorn, I don't disagree with a lot of your points. I actually thought your video was quite intelligent and on the ball. But when you say spectrum, what we do is we open up that everyone's valid and everyone can come. The thing is that, as I said on my last video, Wicca is a mystery school. Witch in the Working, Men of Witch in the Working says that they are mystery schools. And the reason we keep them secret is so people who could come in and, I don't want to say ruin, but kind of do that to our religion, don't get in. There's a reason we have spaces for coven only practice. There is a reason we have spaces for certain beliefs and traditions, and the secrecy is important. As I said, the secrecy of witchcraft is still as important as it was maybe in 1960, but not as important as secrecy practicing witchcraft in the 1800s. When we're talking about witchcraft, when I'm personally talking about witchcraft as a religion, I'm talking about Wicca. But I don't mean that on a political sense, as Thorn says in her video, that when book publishing houses like Llewellyn were publishing books in the 80s and 90s saying that witchcraft was religion, a lot of it was politically driven. I semi-agree there, but then again, I don't. I think when you talk about something being spiritual, if we say that witchcraft is a spiritual connection, you're talking about spirits. And spirits are innate of religion, therefore witchcraft is religion. That's not my thinking. That's just definitions of what a religion is. So I think that's where people we're getting. When we talk about witchcraft as a practice, I personally don't think that witchcraft is a practice for all. And I don't think that everyone's practice is witchcraft, because this is the only problem I have with people who say that witchcraft is a practice, is because people who say witchcraft is a practice are the ones on TikTok and Instagram talking about their practice openly, keeping no secrecy at all, say that they don't worship gods, and do Reiki and aromatherapy and they're mixing certain different beliefs of other pagan cultures and wrapping it in a ball and saying, this is my witchcraft. Well, it's not witchcraft. Reiki's not witchcraft, as I said before. There is a difference about learning the skill to stir a magical cauldron, and a difference between collecting rocks and saying these shiny rocks that sit on the shelf have magical powers. There is a difference there. There is a total difference there. Thorn talks about her priesthood and how that is her work, and that her beliefs and her spiritual practice is work. I agree. It takes a lot of work to keep up with your spiritual practice. I myself have been so guilty often of forgetting daily devotions for my God's days of power. And that is pretty much the only time I get to sit down with my gods or worship my gods, because my life is so hectic and busy. Because I am a teacher, because I am trying to be a licensed foster carer, because my family life, I am really trying to fit witchcraft, my practice, my religion, into my life and make it cohesive. I've started a master's degree. I finished the bachelor's degree and I was like, you know what? Let me do the master's. Trying to fit it in to my world, and it's just, sorry, sniffles. It's difficult at times. It is a lot of work, and there are people out there who will, and this is where I go again, caring about what people are doing and saying and thinking in witchcraft. There are people out there who make no effort whatsoever and call themselves witches and call what they practice witchcraft, and it's not witchcraft. I think that's what's wrong on the surface level, because on the surface, these people and their videos are getting hicks and clicks about, 30,000 views on a TikTok video of a girl putting crystals in her drinking water and saying, this is how you can be a witch, put crystals in your drinking water, and blah, blah, blah. And then you got people like myself who say, that's not witchcraft. And then all these girls, and it's a majority of teenage girls, will watch these videos and go, oh my god, witchcraft is so pretty. And then they get into witchcraft, read a book by Thorn Mooney or Ray Buckland or Phyllis Curott, and then go, oh, where's the part about drinking crystal water like a potion? Well, what you're selling is clickbait. It's disinformation. It's not witchcraft. I think that's where the problem lies. I think how do I say it where I don't sound arrogant? The advertisement, I guess, the image we put out for witchcraft is that it's this spiritual connection through cool magic and Ouija boards and tea leaf readings, and I can stir coffee by doing this with my finger over my... It's like, no, girlfriend, like, that's not witchcraft. Witchcraft is a connection to gods. Witchcraft isn't voodoo, hoodoo, or Santeria. That's voodoo, hoodoo, and Santeria. Like, witchcraft is witchcraft in that particular, it's not like saying Catholic and Lutheran and Protestant, that's just all Christian. It's not the same as saying Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, and Wicca, that's all witchcraft. Because it's not witchcraft. It's not the same thing. Those are ancient pagan traditions, but they're not the same thing. So when you're saying that these people who practice witchcraft but aren't worshipping deities or following set traditions of witchcraft, the spectrum no longer exists. So witchcraft is only witchcraft. It's like being a Hindi and celebrating Hanukkah. That's not Hinduism, that's Judaism. That's the only thing that's the only problem I see when it comes to our community, is that we are, and we're constantly being criticized as Wiccans for cultural appropriation, when that's not what we're doing. Like, our beliefs and our practices belong to us. They are ours. Like, they're ours. But we get told that it's cultural appropriation. It's really not. If you want to look at cultural appropriation, you need to look at all these other white liberal ladies that are tea leaf reading, like they were born in Romania, or people who go and get their nose piercings and they're not Hindu. But the thing is that I don't believe in cultural appropriation. I'm just using that as an argument for argument's sake. To me, I don't think witchcraft is a spectrum. We shouldn't say that everything's on a spectrum. And let's not say it's an umbrella. God, please don't say it's a fucking umbrella. Ugh, does everything have to be an umbrella? And I don't want to delegitimize people's beliefs. If you believe you are practicing witchcraft and you have this connection to gods and this fat, specky white kid with an Essendon pajamas on the internet says, when you're practicing isn't witchcraft, but you believe it to be witchcraft, then practice your witchcraft privately. Cool. It doesn't matter what I think, really. I'm just stating, I personally don't believe witchcraft to be a spectrum or to be an umbrella. Witchcraft is witchcraft. Witchcraft is what it is. It is what it is. It's ugly and it's beautiful at the same time because it is nature. I think where witchcraft is going now is that, and I know a lot of people will say this, is that witchcraft does this thing where in the 60s it was trendy for a housewife to be Wiccan because it was a way for her to, women power, the woman, the bleeding vagina, right? And then again in the 90s when you had things like Charmed, Buffy, Xena, lesbian power, girl power, witchcraft, or Wicca come to the forefront again. The 2010s, we saw a rise in culture trendiness of witchcraft once again. It's how I found my teacher who's Gardnerian. So I guess what we're seeing now on things like Witch Talk, Instagram, what we're seeing now is just another rise in trendiness on witchcraft and another misuse and appropriation of the term witchcraft when it's not witchcraft. I think we need to disassociate what's fashionably trendy from what is our spiritual beliefs. That's what I think our mission should be. I think we need to stand up and say, no, enough is enough. Black nail polish and black hair and black robes, unless you're Laurie Cabot, is not witchcraft. It's just not. Being emo and goth is not witchcraft. That's like, when are we gonna actually stand up and say, enough is enough, this does not represent us. We are just normal people with a connection to our own deities, following our own spiritual path. Why are the people who put themselves out there the ones that make a spectacle of us and make us look strange and weird? If you look at interviews with Ray Buckland or Phyllis Curott or Thorn Mooney, or if you look at popular YouTubers that are witches, such as Cricket Song with Luna Wisdom, when Sammy Valens of Witch on the Rocks was around, if you see these popular YouTubers, you'll see that they dress, look, and talk exactly like Joe Blow. Like, we are regular people. We're doctors, we're lawyers, we're teachers. We are people who have lives outside of witchcraft. But the only ones who get the attention, who get to represent us in the media... I'm sorry, I need to take a sip of my coffee before it goes cold. I can feel it. Look at this cup, y'all. Isn't it cute? I got it from Starbucks. It's so cute. It's Mickey. Y'all. Anyway. The people making the headlines are the ones at Eurovision Song Contest going, I'm a witch! Like, while wearing devil horns. Why are these the people that represent us? Remember when we all thought Stevie Nicks represented us? And the thing is that witchcraft goes through these stages. Feminism goes through these stages. Look at us now with critical gender theory stuff now at the moment. It's just another form of feminism to shock the system, and we'll move on from it again, and it'll be brought up again in another 10 years when cultural motions need to shift once again. I think We need to stop using witchcraft as a cultural movement. It's not a cultural movement. It's a religion. And if we're saying it's a religion and a practice, then can we make it more sacred? Can we treat witchcraft and Wicca as sacred? And stop rubbing it into other forms of paganism and calling it witchcraft. That's the only thing I really try to say with my videos, is that witchcraft is not a spectrum, and it's not for everyone. That's why it's not a spectrum. We need to treat witchcraft as though it is sacred, because it is sacred. And we need to stop flaunting it around as though it's this super mysterious thing. It's not mysterious, it's sacred. And it's a calling. It really is a calling. Witchcraft is not for everybody. Not everybody can visualize and bring to fruition their intention. Not everybody. Not a lot of people have the patience to sit at an altar and visualize for more than 2 minutes. You know, like, kudos if you get 10 to 20 minutes of visualization. A lot of people can't do that. So we need to start treating witchcraft as though it is sacred, because it is sacred. And when you're skyclad, don't want to quote China Phillips, but I will, you'll be naked and sacred. So treat witchcraft as though it's sacred, because it is. Innately, it is. That's all I wanted to say. But Thorn, I have missed your videos, and I think your videos are always spot on, mate. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. Anyway, I'm moving on. I need to go blow my nose because I got the sniffles. It's from the steam of my coffee. Blessed be everyone. Love, peace, and applesauce.